Okay. Everything that you think you know is a lie. And it's not your fault. It's not because you were told wrong, but it's because your brain put a little mental cage around your creativity. For decades, you have been looking at the world through a distorted lens that you didn't even know existed. But to see clearly, we must completely rearrange our mind and relearn how to think about those things that were once taking us down. To be able to break this habit, we first have to understand how our mind filters reality right now. Before you even consciously think about something, before you even know that something is going on in your head, your brain has already filtered it into two boxes. We're talking about confirmation bias, which is when your brain takes experiences that we have on a day-to-day basis and assumes one of two things. One, this is something that I believe to be true, and two, this is something that challenges that belief. Now, as people, we always want to be right. We always want to be the one who knows everything that's going on all the time, but that's not the case, although our mind can play tricks on us and tell us we're right when we're actually wrong, or make us, or skew our sense of reality so that we can feel comfortable in the way that we behave. Confirmation bias is working as a little safety net in your brain that is throwing out everything that you don't agree with, that you don't align with, to make sure that you think that you're always right all the time and make you feel more secure. But it's not really a safety net. It's an ancient practice meant to keep us safe when we were primal beings, don't need it anymore, don't know what's happening, and honestly, it can slow us down in this day and age. On top of that, your industry, your work, your family, the people you hang around with are constantly feeding into that confirmation bias, because of course you hang around people that think like you, that look like you, that act like you, keeping you operating at a low frequency, with a rigid mind, with no creativity, like a little sheep, and we don't want that because that sucks. And when somebody challenges that belief and it makes you uncomfortable, take note of that, because that's not actually a bad sign. This is how we retrain our minds. That's how we know the filter's there. When we're able to notice the filter and expose it for what it is, we can break down those old beliefs and build new ones that are more productive, that serve us now. The first step into fixing this, when you see that filter get exposed and you notice that filter's there, you ask, why do I believe this? To your core principles. What makes me believe this? Why do I think the way I think? And if it's serving you, then it's working and it's fine, and you'll be able to notice that. But if it's not, and there's not a clear answer to why do I believe this, and it's kind of just like, I've seen this happen throughout my whole life, it's a learned behavior, and my cognitive bias is taking over and keeping my mind rigid, and I'm not experiencing life the way I should, I'm not operating at a high frequency, I'm not the man that I want to be, and it leads you to question yourself in that way, we know it's not working. For example, somebody cuts you off and they're driving. You kind of want to speed up and see who that person is in the car. You're like, what do you look like? You're like, oh, it's an old person for sure. It's an old lady for sure. And then you come up and it's not. And you're like, oh. And that is when the filter gets exposed and you notice that. And maybe you think to yourself, wow, I'm kind of an asshole for thinking that way. I kind of suck. I'm kind of racist. I'm kind of racist for thinking that. But you notice the filter get exposed and it challenges your belief. Now, a closed-minded person would say, nah, that's just an anomaly. You know, it would have been an old lady, an Asian woman driving. I'm not racist. That's just a stereotype. But somebody who notices this filter is exposed and they can think to themselves, wow, I made an assumption that might not be serving me. It was a negative thought that I had. And if I let that drive my day, it would have made my day 10 times worse. And I would have gone on thinking, wow, Asian people suck. That is such a valuable insight to have, to understand when your confirmation bias is talking versus your actual creative human mind. Your learning, growing human mind. We want to harness that creative mind and use it to form new beliefs that serve us. So that's how you break down the old beliefs. You first have to notice when the filter gets exposed, oh, something happened and I was wrong. What made me think that way? Why was I right or wrong there? Whatever it takes. And after you notice the filter gets exposed, you can then think to yourself, wow, maybe not all those people are like that. Maybe that's not always going to be that way, because you've noticed it. And your new learned behavior is that maybe everything that I thought was true about this is actually different, and there's another way to look at it that can help me become more positive and more open-minded. Now, the payoff here, when we're able to do this, clearer thinking, enhanced creativity, a positive outlook on the world, better worldview. A cleared mind creates room for actual original ideas, more time to think about things that serve you. You're not just recycling the same mantras that have been fed to you, force-fed to you through your friends, your family, your industry, your colleagues, whatever it is. You can think for yourself again. You're able to form ideas and beliefs, and that's the whole point of being a person, is understanding yourself. And when you understand yourself, you can gain more confidence. And when you're more confident, people trust you. They want to confide in you and they want your opinion. This leads you to being seen as a higher valued person, somebody who understands themselves and somebody who understands the way of the world at a much higher level than most people. So that's just my quick explanation of how to go about unlearning those negative beliefs that don't serve you, those ancient beliefs that we can shove aside for now, and go about rebuilding our life in a more positive framework. I hope that this video can help some of you guys understand yourselves a little bit better and rebuild your worldview in case. I remember that I was struggling a while back with cognitive bias, and it led me to become pretty bitter. I often talk to my mom about my whole day. I'll come home from work and explain to her all the good things that happened, all the bad things that happened, and I noticed it was a lot of bad things that were happening, and a lot of things that could have been avoided if I shifted my perspective and thought, hey, maybe this isn't such a big deal. Maybe my one experience that I had with this person doesn't define an entire population of people. Or maybe my one experience that I had with this doesn't define the way I see my job or working in general. So I think there is some real value in being able to shift your perspective and see the world in a more positive framework. I think that you'll operate at a much more positive frequency, and I think that people will be attracted to that and they'll be able to see that. And with that newfound attraction, you will gain more confidence and you'll feel better. And it's all about feeling good, living life, being happy. So take that with a grain of salt. I'm not always right and I'm not perfect, so